Smiles on the Washington sideline. Steve Sarkisian calling that throwback to Jake Locker. One play after the fumble recovery set him up tight inside the 25. Polk taking it in. And now this Washington team that told us they're a lot more confident and assured than they were in the first meeting against Nebraska will have a chance to show it. This is Tim Marlowe on the return. He gets a crease. A flag comes in. 2 or 3 of them now as Marlowe's brought down at the 29.
Well, this is probably going to set Nebraska back again to start this possession. But, you know, the concerning part if you're Nebraska is the lack of ball security in that first time they had the football. I mean, 2 times they put it on the ground.
During the return, illegal block in the back by the receiving team, number 12. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Nebraska.
Land Clark is the referee. Mountain West Conference officials tonight. Flags have been a concern for Bo Pelini all season. Here's the touchdown.
Yeah, well, Dijon Gomes is going to come in unblocked. I mean, he's there to make a play, but he just takes a little bit poor of an angle, and then when he tries to change directions, his feet go out from under him, and Polk goes right by him. But it was a right defensive call by Carl Pelini. They had an unblocked guy, but he couldn't make the play.
Alou Jr. stopped for no gain. We wondered, Todd, how Nebraska would play tonight. A team they'd pummeled back at the Holiday Bowl for the 2nd consecutive year. An excruciating loss to Oklahoma in the conference championship game. And they were saying the right things, but it doesn't look like a very sharp team. Turnovers, that's the way this verdict can be different from the first game.
Well, and then the other side of that is, you know, bowl games, most bowl games, a lot of them are decided by the team that really is excited to be there. What team seems more into it? And right now, I don't think there's any question that Washington has got more enthusiasm in this game than Nebraska.
It's Burkhead behind Tyler DeGate, the fullback, and they shift the tight ends now to the left side. Burkhead hit again. A flag down at the snap, but this is suddenly a confident and inspired Husky defense. They were getting worked over in the opening drive before the turnover.
Again, the key for them is to play well on first down and to force Taylor Martinez and this Nebraska offense into pass situations.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Nebraska. They're first of the half.
So they get the timeout just before the delay call. Already 3 penalties on Pelini's team, and they're in a 7-point hole midway first quarter here in San Diego. Two-touchdown underdog Washington Huskies up a touchdown here, scoring in their first possession following the turnover. And now Nebraska backed up on 2nd and 10. Roy Halou Jr. picking his way for about 4. Sets up 3rd and 6.
And right now it's playing to script for Washington. The key for them is to win first down on both sides of the ball. They've got to play well early on early downs defensively to put Taylor Martinez in pass situations. And then on offense, they got to do the same thing. They've got to put themselves in manageable 3rd down situations because Nebraska's 3rd down defense is so good.
Martinez scrambled earlier on 3rd and 16, almost picked up the first down, and they went and got it on 4th down. Looks to throw, and now takes off. Flips it at the last minute, just flipped the ball to an open space. I don't know what he was trying to do there.
Well, I think there might even be a late hit. I mean, he did flip the ball. A weird looking end of the play, but he also got hit as he was going towards the sidelines.
Illegal forward pass on the offense, number 3. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. The down will count. 4th down.
He'd gone beyond the line before, but that was just a weird decision.
Yeah. Well, he knew he wasn't going to get the yardage by.
You better be darn sure there's nobody there if you're going to do that.
Been watching Brett Favre too much, I guess.
They decline, and here comes the punt. Alex Henry, All-American kicker, exceptional career that we'll detail for you later tonight, and also a pretty good punter, averages almost 44 yards.
The previous play is under further review.
See, I don't quite get what that penalty was. Did they say he was across the line?
He said illegal forward pass.
Okay, then he must have been across the line because, I mean, as long as you leave the pocket, you can throw it away if it crosses the line of scrimmage.
They didn't say intentional grounding. Let's take another look. The line of scrimmage just short of the 19. It was very close.
Yeah.
Hard to say from that perspective whether he had crossed the line of scrimmage. And there's the line. If you notice it, just his foot is on it.
Yeah.
So, and the ball was ahead of it.
Yeah.
Penalty was declined anyway, creating the 4th and 9. You know, Pelini and all the flags thrown by the Big 12 officials. You know the story. He was especially upset in the Texas A&M game when they were flagged 16 times as compared to 2 for the home team. Yeah, he's well across the line of scrimmage, so the call correct there. Anyway, Pelini chastised by the chancellor of Nebraska in the wake of that televised game against the Aggies when he was all over the Big 12 officials. And it's no secret that Nebraska folks believe that their team has been, in their final year in the conference, unfairly treated by the officials. Of course, that's disputed by the officials themselves and a lot of other teams in the conference.
Well, he coaches with a lot of emotion. There's no question about that. And like his buddies from Youngstown, Bob and Mike Stoops, very similar personalities. They all are from Youngstown Cardinal Mooney High School, and kind of that blue-collar Northeastern Ohio personality.
After further review, the ruling on the field stand. 4th down.
So a rough start for Martinez, coming off a brutal second half against Oklahoma when they were shut out and very ineffective.
And Sean Watson said he kind of got lost in the second half of that game. I'm not sure he's found yet.
Devin Aguilar's speedster is back to return the punt of Henry. High boot. Drives Aguilar back, and he'll call a fair catch at the 36. Down to Aaron Andrews.
Hey, let's talk about the vibes of both teams. Moments before the game started, Washington, it was kind of like a party. Very much like USC back in the day. Guys chest bumping, clapping, having a good time. Nebraska, very businesslike. Now, head coach Bo Pelini did tell us that he wasn't worried about his team's motivation or incentive heading into this game, but he did have members of the Navy SEALs speak to the kids last night. What he wanted them to hear the message about leadership, attention to details, ball security maybe in the first quarter. Obviously, mood has changed over here on Nebraska's sideline. They are just very focused, a little down on themselves, but we'll see how they handle the attention to detail, CF.
Yeah, Bo Pelini very enamored with the Navy SEALs, as I know you are, Todd. Believes very much in their ability to kind of dig deep and get the most out of themselves, and playing to a standard, attention to detail. That's Pelini's motto every week, but it's a challenge tonight given the circumstances. Polk slipped down on the first down carry, by the way.
It really is. I mean, you're dealing with 18, 19-year-old kids, and you got to work through that.
Locker keeps it after faking the handoff to Polk. His first run of the night. Terrence Moore, who's in there because Baker Steinkuhler was arrested for a DUI earlier this month, and he's out for this game.
And Terrence Moore had been playing a lot more snaps down the stretch of the season. I mean, he would have played a lot more tonight anyway. We'll also see Thaddeus Randall, a young freshman that they're extremely high on at that defensive tackle position.
This was the problem for the Huskies in September. 3rd down, and they need 6 yards here. The Pelini brothers dialing up lots of pressure on Locker on 3rd down situations in the first meeting. They bring 6 tonight. And again, a tightly contested throw as Alfonso Denner, the corner, was right there. These physical corners for Nebraska, tough.
Well, they're physical and they're just skilled. I mean, they read the play quickly. Denner read the quick slant and beat his man to the spot and almost got another interception on Jake Locker. He had one in the game in September.
There's nothing easy in the passing game for Locker. 4 for 20. Kyle Rasp boots it. This is Burkhead, who had the fumble earlier. Fields this inside the red zone. The Gators and the Nittany Lions get things going on Saturday, New Year's morning, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Final game for Urban Meyer. Joe Paterno in a feisty mood, trying to fight off all the rumors. You'll be doing The Alabama-Michigan State game with Brad Nessler interesting as the Tide.
Yeah.
With all those Michigan State connections, Saban and his staff, Mark Ingram.
And Michigan State looks at that as they're still playing the defending national champions. And should be a heck of a matchup.
And I'm told they practiced well. It's not like that situation against Utah a couple of years ago when they went in dispirited. They seem to be taking the game seriously. Short gain for Halou on first down, and Huskies doing what they need to do, Todd, the last couple series. You know, keeping Nebraska from churning out big yards on first down.
You know, when they played in Seattle, Nebraska averaged 8 yards per play offensively. I mean, every time they ran a play, they averaged 8 yards. Well, right now, Washington's doing a much better job on the early downs of making Nebraska earn it. They're attacking the line of scrimmage, and they're tackling better than they did the first time around.
Blitz up the middle. Halou dragged down and set up about third and medium. And already Mason Foster with 366 career tackles coming in. 151 this season has been active tonight.
Some guys haven't. You hear guys talk about having a nose for the football. Mason Foster's one of those guys. I mean, he just knows how to find the ball, and he's a sure tackler when he gets there. That's how you get those kind of numbers. You got to be a good tackler.
Senior out of Seaside in Northern California. Also has 11 tackles for loss. He's a captain, a 3-year starter. Good spokesman for this defense. And so far, this looks like a different Husky defense than back in September.
Well, and again, you know, they were 3-6 at one point and had to win all 3 games to get bowl eligible. And they beat 3 teams down the stretch in UCLA, Cal, and Washington State to get here. That changed this football team. They are different.
And they get off the field on 3rd and 5. Halou to the left of Martinez. Martinez flushed again, flips it short, it bounced back to him. Right off the chest of a Husky defender back to the quarterback. Chamora had a chance to make a play. We've seen some wacky stuff early.
Well, the reason Martinez had to leave the pocket is because the center got driven right back into his lap. It was a hard rush by Ta'amu that forced Martinez to leave. He tries to flip again. It comes right back to him. Goofy looking play.
Huskies able to keep Nebraska to 0 for 3 now on 3rd down. Here's Henry again. Lets it bounce out of bounds. And Washington will take over. So this high-powered Nebraska running game after the opening drive, which ended in a fumble, has been hurt by poor field position and ineffective.
And this is where I think Washington needs to be aggressive, throwing the football on early downs. I mentioned winning first down for their defense, winning first down for their offense as well, because this Nebraska defense, we saw them stop them on 3rd down the last time the Huskies had the ball. That's now 7 3rd down conversions in the last 53 plays against this defense in the last 5 ball games.
Empty backfield. Collier and Polk both in the game, and this is Polk. Sort of a pro-style offense for Steve Sarkisian, but they're starting to employ more and more of the zone read look to take advantage of Locker's talents.
Yeah, you know, and that's smart coaching by Steve Sarkisian and Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator. They realize they've got a gifted guy at quarterback who's gifted as a runner and a thrower. So why not kind of mix in the pro stuff with the spread option stuff or the zone read stuff?
Just what they want. 2nd and short after an 8-yard gain, and Locker quickly accelerates up the middle of the field and bowls for a first down inside the 35. A design run. Picks up 13.
Quarterback draw, runs north and south.
So a thriller there, and welcome now to the Bridgefoot Education Holiday Bowl. Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. Chris Fowler along with Todd Blackledge and Aaron Andrews. A surprising start to this one. 3:40 to play in the first quarter. Huskies up 7-0 on the Huskers, and this is Jake Locker. Fires out of bounds. A 13-yard run for Locker just got him a first down. Nebraska had a good-looking drive going in their opening possession, but then a fumble forced by Victor Ayera. Scooped up by the big tackle, Alameda Teamo, and it sets up a touchdown by Chris Polk. That came a couple of plays after a throwback to Locker. Got him down inside the 5. And Washington trying to reverse the verdict of a 35-point home field beatdown at the hand of Nebraska back in September, driving already up a touchdown. On 2nd and 10, this is Chris Polk. The physical runner spins away and picks up 10 or close to it.
Well, this is a confident runner. He had 284 yards against Washington State in their big win at the end of the season. He's averaged almost 170 yards a game over the last 3 games, and you can just tell. I mean, he is a confident guy running the football.
About 30 friends and family for Polk watching this game tonight, coming off the 2nd biggest game running the ball in Husky history in that Apple Cup win. They needed to get here. This is Polk again, hammering right over the top of the defensive back for the first down.
I liked the way Doug Nussmeier described him. He said he's a heavy runner. He runs heavy. He delivers a blow, and you can see it on that play right there.
Courtney Osborne would agree with you.
Yeah.
He's the one that got flattened. And this has been a confident offense, a confident defense, a totally different team. And again, you have to question so far the spark and the motivation of the Nebraska team coming off a loss to Oklahoma. Back here for the 2nd straight year against a team they handled in September. Locker rolling. Pressure just throws it away. We expected to see Locker a lot more outside the pocket tonight to avoid that rush than the 4 for 20 in the first meeting.
Well, and credit to the Nebraska defense. The last 2 first down plays, Washington has tried to throw the football with Locker out on the perimeter, and he's had to throw it away both times. So a nice job of coverage by Nebraska on those first down runs.
The motto was finish. They were 3-6 in deep trouble. Hadn't been to a bowl in 8 years. They beat the Bruins. Won at Cal on the final play. Hard-fought win over Wazoo on the road. Locker still hasn't completed a pass, but takes off another quarterback draw, and he is hit very quickly by the tackling machine, Levante David. Closing in on the all-time Nebraska record for tackles in the season, held by Barrett Ruud. Only needed 5 to get it.
Now, Levante David is only 210 pounds, but he hits a lot harder than that. I mean, he's a guy who likes contact. He loves to get in there and mix it up, but he's also fast enough to play like a defensive back. So he's a very versatile defender for this Nebraska defense.
Closing in on that record, 2nd-team All-American, defensive MVP. 3rd and 10 for Locker. It's a shot. Receiver muscled out of bounds again. Alfonso Denner, the corner, doing a great job on Jermaine Kearse, their top receiver.
Well, that was a problem they had in September. The receivers could not get off jam coverage. And Denner just does it beautifully. I mean, he just forces them to the sideline. And Kearse, their best receiver, doesn't even have a chance to go for the football.
So this is Eric Folk, the junior, California native, from 39 yards. Very accurate kicker inside of 45 yards, and this is right down the middle. So the 2 touchdown underdogs from Seattle, up 10 late first quarter in San Diego. Sunny morning for the Port of San Diego Big Bay Balloon Parade. They say it's the largest balloon parade in the country. More helium-filled characters than anywhere. I'm not going to argue with them.
No. I saw him setting it up. I went for a run this morning along the boardwalk, and there were people filing in early.
Bill Walton, San Diego native, NBA Hall of Famer, Grand Marshal. This is Niles Paul, and the speedster out across the 25. Still not 100% with that foot injury, but back in tonight as a receiver and kick returner as we check in with Darinoka.
Guys, Connecticut women's basketball team, their historic streak may be coming to an end at 90 straight wins, but Stanford now has an 8-point lead with 2.5 minutes to go. You can see it right now over on ESPN2. Stanford, the last team that beat Connecticut back in the NCAA tournament in 2008.
Maybe a night of surprises all around, Dari, with Nebraska up 10 as they use Burkhead in the Wildcat formation, fakes the handoff. And Rex lowers his head, but gets only about 3 tied. And Nebraska has started with poor field possession. All 4 of their possessions now, and been held in check on first down.
Well, again, when these teams played earlier in the year, it came pretty easy to Nebraska. They had big runs. They gashed them with some big plays. They imposed their will. Well, they're finding out, as much as the coaches tried to say it's going to be different this time around, I think now they realize, hey, we're going to have to earn it against Washington. They're still very much in this ball game. They just got to get a little rhythm on offense.
Martinez keeps it. Shows the acceleration, finds a crease, and gets a first down to the 40. Martinez has had a fumble. They recovered that, but Iowa, who has forced both of the fumbles tonight, and also knocked one out of Burkhead's hands. And that set up the first touchdown. 11-yard gain.
I think they need to try to get the ball like that to the perimeter some. Washington has been very strong, bringing linebackers in close to the line of scrimmage. And I also think they've got to try to find their tight end, Kyler Reed, and get him involved in the passing game a little bit on some crossing routes.
Martinez keeps it again. Tripped up. The turf toe feels a lot better. Still got a high ankle sprain in the right side, but yeah, he's smiling more. He's back to more of his old self as compared to where he was down the stretch here.
Yeah, but this is a nice play by Jamora. I mean, he keeps good leverage and is able to just trip him up by the ankle and stop him behind the line of scrimmage. And another negative play for the Washington defense.
But a very positive first quarter for the Washington Huskies. Instead of falling in a quick hole, as they did in the first meeting, Sarkisian's team up 10-0 after a quarter here in San Diego. It's the Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl. Cornhuskers here for the 2nd consecutive year. They hammered Arizona 33-0. And a very different encounter with the Pac-10 team so far tonight. 2nd and 12 for Martinez. Straight back, takes a shot near sideline, but it's caught by McNeil. Like McNeil, the senior possession receiver, converted tight end out near midfield.
It's a nice throw. Good timing by Taylor Martinez. Kept the out to the outside. I was surprised when we talked to him. As good a runner, as fast as he is, I asked him, you know, what kind of offense did you play in high school? I assumed he'd say wing T or some kind of an option. He said, oh, we spread. We threw the ball all the time. Hardly ever ran. Like, really?
With that kind of speed, huh?
Yeah.
He played in 3 different high schools his final 3 years. He was a scout team receiver a year ago for Nebraska. Martinez fakes the throw, takes off up the middle, and you can see the very quick acceleration, even though he might not have top speed with the toe still. It's a tough injury to shake off, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And time is the only thing that can completely heal it. And during the bowl preparations, they did a smart thing with him. They wanted to still work with him because he still has to develop as a quarterback. So they only used him in pass situations. And all the quarterback run stuff in the running game, they didn't give him reps in that part. But in the passing game, they gave him reps during the bowl week.
When Nebraska has lost, and all 3 of their losses this year, it's part of it has been Martinez has been ineffective throwing the ball. And the handoff on 2nd is short. Burkhead is stopped short. Down to Aaron.
Chris, head coach Bo Pelini told us yesterday he wasn't worried about the team's emotion, but he wanted them to pay attention to details. We saw one detail they kind of ignored in the first quarter, ball security. What they're preaching over here on Nebraska's sideline, communication. They were on Taylor Martinez to speak louder, and also Carl Pelini on his secondary to start talking to each other, telling each other what's coming up next.
Yeah, it's not like this Nebraska team, Aaron's going to be completely rattled. I think they're still a very confident team. They strongly believe they have a physical edge on a shorthanded Husky defensive line. You need 3 on 3rd down. And the whistle.
I don't think they got the playoffs. And that's a mental mistake of a team that maybe isn't as focused as they need to be.
Delay game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And Martinez really played a poor second half against Oklahoma. He just wasn't there, in the words of the Nebraska coaches.
And see, those kind of plays are mental mistakes and their lack of focus mistakes. And you say, well, is it that big a deal? Well, yeah, 3rd and 3 compared to 3rd and 8 is a big deal. And he knows right away that was his mistake.
It's already the 5th penalty on Nebraska. These Mountain West officials have been busy marching off yardage against the Big Red. So now Martinez in the shotgun on 3rd and long.
And a pass situation. 3rd and 3 is run or pass. 3rd and 8 is pretty much pass only.
Once again, with the Huskies showing pressure, the play clock was winding down, and another penalty.
That's ridiculous.
Back-to-back delay of game from 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 13 now. And let's go back to Darinoka again.
Hey, Chris, guys, Connecticut 90-game winning streak is 59 seconds from ending. Stanford just hit a bucket in the paint. They have an 8-point lead with 59 seconds to go. Perhaps the last team to beat them will be the first team to beat them after 90 straight wins. It's on ESPN2.
All right, thanks. And Taylor Martinez hit out of bounds. That'll be 15 more after a run. You can see the speed of the quarterback, and then Nate Fellner got him too late.
Well, how do you make up for 2 mental mistakes back-to-back play clock violations? You make up for it by being a great runner. And that's what Taylor Martinez, I mean, he had no intentions of throwing this football. He just outran the Washington defense for the first down and then got the 15-yard penalty added on top.
After the play, personal foul, late hit on the defense, number 29. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's a very late hit.
Yeah. And Martinez was slowing down. You can see he's still favoring the injuries. I mean, he was really ginger there at the end of the run. And Fellner, who has been a real solid player for this Washington defense, a very poor mistake that time.
Sometimes, Todd, not all there mentally. You can make up for it with the physical skills. And Nebraska now first down in the red zone.
Big splits. Boy, they get 2 tight ends and get really wide splits.
Burkhead cuts it back. Hit near the line of scrimmage. They try to pry the ball loose. He gains about 3.
Here's the biggest difference. Now, I watched the tape of this first game pretty close. And Steve Sarkisian said, we must match the physicality of Nebraska this time. We did not do it the first time. They're matching the physical style of play of Nebraska in this game. Now, Nebraska's got something going right here, but that's why this is a completely different game than the first time these 2 teams met. Washington is up for the challenge physically tonight, and they weren't in September.
Burkhead again, picks his way, slips, and picks up nothing. This was a Husky defense that sounded determined to redeem itself, Todd. The Nebraska offensive line laughing in their faces at times during that meeting in September because they kept running the power play again and again and gaining yardage.
And this is not a good thing for Nebraska. Burkhead very slow getting up at the end of that play and now limping off the field. You mentioned Roy Helu Jr. already banged up a little bit. Martinez a little banged up, and now Burkhead also needing some assistance on the sideline.
3rd and long. Martinez under center. It's Helu Jr. in the backfield. Martinez takes a shot for the end zone, throws it up, touchdown. Kyler Reed, the tight end. Taz Stevenson got there just a split second late to make the play for Washington. The Huskers are on the board. Reed's 8th touchdown of the year, the sophomore from Shawnee, Kansas. Undersized as a blocking tight end, but a very good receiver.
Excellent receiver, and particularly important to this offense in the red zone. And Stevenson went for an interception and missed on that play.
He's the All-American kicker, Alex Henry, his final college game. And that point after brings him just 3 points now from 400 for his career. Only 11 guys have done that before. Let's check back with Dari for an update on the women's basketball game.
Disciplined defensively, but from the moment this ball was tipped up, they were in the best jump shooter's space and never allowed her to get comfortable. And the impatience of the players around her had an impact as well.
Hartley picking up the loose ball back into the lane. Dixon has to heave it up there. What nobody else could do, going back to 2008 forward. Although Stanford had opportunities to do it in between there. Here at Maples Pavilion tonight, They are about to beat Connecticut.
Remarkably, just like with UCLA's men's streak, the last team that beat them before they ran off 90 in a row ended the streak at 90. For UCLA, it was Notre Dame as their nemesis. For Connecticut, it is Stanford. Lots more coverage, post-game reaction, plenty more coming up on SportsCenter.
Okay, welcome back to the Richmond Education Holiday Bowl. So a big night for a Pac-10 team in basketball. And the Huskies, as big underdogs tonight, leading Nebraska. Pinned back deep, but a 15-yard penalty, a personal foul on Pierre Allen, Nebraska defensive end. Kind of reverse momentum here, Todd.
Well, it was huge because you could tell Nebraska getting a little more juice. They had great kickoff coverage, a couple plays early, and the penalty gave new life to Washington.
And they convert on 3rd and 2. Locker keeps it, almost falls down, and now slides for a first down just barely. Austin Cassidy wrapped him up, and Locker's down. No. This is the last thing you want to see if you're a fan of this sport. Jake Locker in his final college game, finally realizing the dream of playing in a bowl game. Take a look at the collision with Cassidy. And 2 helmets coming together right there. It was not a flag thrown. Washington fans booing because they see the replay. It caught the back of his head, caught a knee of a Nebraska player, and then Cassidy's helmet got the front.
Yeah, and he didn't slide. You know, he was going for the first down, and so he was fair game at that point, but the helmet to helmet not seen by the officials, and that's why I think Locker is still on the field.
This is a guy that comes out of the small town of Ferndale, Washington. Started from his true freshman year. He's a folk hero. It's hard to overstate the popularity of Jake Locker, even though this has not been the kind of year individually that he wanted, as his draft stock has supposedly plummeted a bit. But so keyed up, so excited to play in this final game, and we hope this is not the final play of his college career.
Congratulations.
Sarkisian and the trainers circling around Locker. Backup quarterback is Keith Price, a freshman from Compton, who's played a little bit, played in the Oregon game when Locker was hurt. But there's real concern for the leader of this Washington team. All the scouts, Todd, here to watch Locker, to take a last look at him.
Well, and he hasn't done much tonight so far throwing the football, but he's played under control. He's thrown the ball away a couple times. He's made some nice runs. He's managed this Washington offense, but like you said, boy, you hate to think that was his last play of this game.
That's good news. He's up, walking to the sideline. You can see wincing and not walking all that steadily. He's arm in arm with Sarkisian, who tries to give him a smile. You've certainly been hitting that plenty of times as a quarterback.
Well, in today's world of college football, pro football, any of those hits to the head, you know, they've got to take a lot of precaution before they put a guy back on the field. So I'm sure they're going to take a good long look at Jake Locker before they make any decision whether he can go back in the football game or not.
For now, it's Keith Price's game. He's got a first down to work with.
First thing Keith Price has to do is take the snap from center. Make sure he secures the snap.
Hands it off to Polk, who cuts. Nice little move by Chris Polk, who's a north-south runner, but made a little lateral move to pick up 7. Locker sitting down now as the trainers try to assess his condition.
I thought it was interesting. Chris Polk told us yesterday, he says, you know, maybe I'm playing the wrong position, but I hate to get tackled. I really don't like to get tackled. That's probably a good thing for a running back. Don't get tackled.
He is a physical runner. He'll deliver a blow. A pretty good receiver out of the backfield as well. He has 45 yards rushing so far on 9 carries. Give it to Polk again. He muscles About a yard short of the marker. Aaron, what's going on the sidelines there with the Locker's assessment?
Well, the most I could tell, basically just standing right behind him, is he looked at the trainers and the doctors that were talking to him, and he just said, "I'm fine, I'm fine." They all kind of looked at each other, and then he went up and grabbed his helmet on his own, put it on before they even talked to him, and went out on the field.
It's kind of a no-no.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, he's not in the game yet, but you know he wants to go back in time, but so does every player that takes a shot like that. You have to be cautious. Huskies need a yard and third down. Price from the shotgun. Fakes the run. Takes a shot down the field and overthrows Collier, who was open.
They had it. They went for the Tebow play. It looked like the fake quarterback run. He stepped off the line of scrimmage, and he had Collier, who had beaten the best corner on this Nebraska football team and one of the best in the country. Watch the fake. Step in, step back, and just a slight overthrow, but he had his man open.
You got to give your receiver a chance to make that play if you're a quarterback. But Price, you prepare, you think you're going to be ready in an emergency, but now as they go for it on fourth down, this really tests your readiness. Price keeps it, hit, and stops short on the first down. Check it, that was Polk on the direct snap, and they stop him.
Yeah, it was Polk on that one. It was Collier on the play before, so they're trying to pull out a lot of different stops on what they're doing with Locker out of the game. But
Pierre Allen, who had the 15-yard penalty at the beginning of this drive, redeems himself somewhat with a stop on fourth down. So with Locker wearing the helmet, but on the sidelines, Nebraska takes over down 3. Celebrating its 6th year, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets. All-State makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship fund for each field goal and extra point kicked. Nebraska takes over. This is Burkhead in the Wildcat on first down. Keeps it, chased, and again a good job by the Husky defense on first down.
A much different looking Washington defense. They're in the right spots, they're tackling well, and they're matching the physical style of play at the line of scrimmage. They gave up a touchdown in their last possession, but they're playing more toe-to-toe with Nebraska, much more than they did in their previous meeting.
Nebraska expected a much stiffer challenge from the Washington defense, but I don't think they expected to struggle this much on first down. Martinez keeps it, has the corner, and is tackled well short of midfield by Quentin Richardson. Aaron?
Chris, update on Jake Locker. Just talked to the Huskies medical athletic training staff, and what they said was they just got scared. His helmet went up over his head a little bit and actually pushed his eyes closed. That's what they told us, and he couldn't open his eyes. They were really panicked. He never lost consciousness. He doesn't have a concussion, and he will be back on the field. Washington gets the ball.
It is good news. We'll see if Husky defense can get Nebraska off the field here on 3rd and 4. Martinez, pump fake. Now takes a shot downfield and has Niles Paul open for a while, but it's picked off. Underthrown by Martinez. And Nate Fellner, the safety, makes Martinez pay for the underthrow.
Now the ball was underthrown and it fluttered and it hung up in the air for so long, and that enabled Fellner to get over to make a play.
5th pick of the season for the sophomore from Fresno. So the Huskies and Locker apparently get the ball back up 3. Good news back here in San Diego is that Jake Locker is back in the game at quarterback. That nasty looking hit when he got a knee to the back of the helmet, and then the helmet, Cornhusker to the front of his helmet, and Aaron reported jammed his eyes shut. Kind of a quick exam on the sidelines, and he's back in the game with Polk, the tailback. Huskies sitting in a 3-point lead, and they give it to Polk.
And then how will Jake Locker handle it when he does tuck it and run? You know, will he run with the same recklessness that he has been running with so far in the ball game?
Took the hit after scrambling for a first down. Locker runs expected to be a big part of the Husky game plan tonight. Hard to be a pocket passer against Nebraska. They fake it to Polk. Locker trying to buy some time. Flips it over the middle into traffic and broken up. There's a flag on the play as Austin Cassidy was there to knock it out of the hands of Curse. And a holding penalty.
Well, it would have been negated, but that's a play that Curse needs to make. I mean, this defensive secondary and pass defense of Nebraska, one of the very best in the country. And when you get an opportunity to make a play and your quarterback is working in the pocket and leaving the pocket and you get your hands on it, you got to make a play.
Of course, if you're an offensive lineman, you're determined to protect your quarterback who's just taking a hit. Might be more prone to hold in that situation. And there you can see it on the edge, holding against the defensive end Cameron Meredith, who's closing in on Locker. 2nd and 18. Locker pump fakes around the sidelines again, and once again Curse is muscled out of bounds by Alfonso Denner. That was good run.
So it doesn't matter where the ball is. I mean, you've got to be stronger and more physical on the perimeter against this secondary. You can't let them just force you out of bounds.
And you need the 18 here on 3rd down. And the play clock ran out.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Aaron, let's check with you again.
Talking about how physical these corners are, Steve Sarkisian is giving the officials a piece of his mind. He's throwing his headset on the ground. He's screaming at him that it's holding. He warned us, and so did the Huskers and the Huskies, that they were going to play physical tonight, and they had to watch it.
Yeah, Nebraska will do a lot until the officials throw a flag. Right. And Dannert has twice muscled receivers out of bounds and therefore out of the play. As Polk is corralled, they just run it on 3rd and a mile.
Yeah. Well, the good news was for Washington that Jake Locker came back in the ballgame. The bad news is they look pretty discombobulated on that offensive possession. Had a holding penalty. Receivers getting knocked out of bounds. And Nebraska is starting to get a little energy in this football game. And
in a game and a half almost against Nebraska, Jake is now 4 of 25 throwing the ball. That's a pretty short punt by Fulton. Makes a fair catch as he falls to his rear end at the 36-yard line. So closing in on halftime, 4 minutes away, and the Huskers get the ball back down 3 as we show you the gas lamp quarter here in San Diego. Dari, thank you. That was a wild finish, worth another look. As Halou is smothered for a loss on 1st down by Jamora.
The ability of Washington's defense to play on 1st down and to create negative plays early in the possessions has been the difference in this ball game. They've not allowed Nebraska, which is a run-heavy team, to stay ahead of the chains and then throw the ball on their terms.
Halou Jr. taking the pitch from Martinez. Out near the 40, but it'll be 3rd and long again. Can't wait to hear what the guys in the studio have to say about that salute, that call by the Big Ten official against Kansas State on the touchdown. Of course, the 2-point conversion to be from the 18-yard line against Syracuse. Fumble on the opening possession for Nebraska. A couple of punts. Touchdown pass from Martinez on a long drive. And then the pick in the last possession. They need 5. Pressure off the edge. And a diving catch for a 1st down by Brandon Kinney.
Well, that was a huge cushion. Quentin Richardson, way too much room on the outside, and that's easy pitch and catch on a 3rd down play. Martinez with the long throw to the sideline, but a big cushion.
Nice catch for Kenny, and now dropped for a loss by Iowa, who's had 2 forced fumbles and now a tackle for loss. Big first half for the senior from Fresno, Texas.
Kind of fell into that play. They were a little bit mixed up on their alignment, and Iowa was running to the other side of the field. It just so happened he ran right into a tackle.
And tremendous success for Nick Holt's defense on first down against Nebraska. He couldn't have dreamt anything better than this.
Yeah. 12 snaps, only 21 yards on first down plays. That's the difference in the game right now for Washington.
Martinez, a little dart over the middle, and it's dropped. That's Quincy. They call him Q Aninwa.
He had some running room, too. This is a nice job by Martinez getting rid of the football. Quick release, and if Aninwa can hold on to it, he's still running.
Nebraska offense that had almost 600 yards in the beatdown of the Huskies back in September. Barely 100 total offense tonight.
And really, you know, they've got him into third and long situations, but where they've had trouble is containing the scrambles of Taylor Martinez in third down situations.
Martinez having to scramble again. This time he won't get away. And Jamora with the big sack. Frustrating first half for the Cornhusker quarterback.
Yeah. Well, again, this is not the strength of Nebraska's team. Third and long, drop back passing. That's not their comfort zone. It's not the comfort zone of their offensive line. It's not the comfort zone of their quarterback. And Washington with a big sack on this one.
So Nebraska offensive line that's had its ups and downs. Criticized in Lincoln because they have such high standards for the offensive line. And it's a Nebraska offense that at times has looked so powerful and so potent, but in their losses has been very ineffective.
But see, it's hard to be a good offensive line that can run block and drive people off the ball and also be a great pass blocking team. They're good pass blocking with play action after they've run the football with so much success. They're not doing that tonight.
See if Devin Aguilar can give the Huskies some field position. The punt from Henry drives him to the 27. Good coverage by Nebraska. He's knocked down at the 30. So a minute 44 before halftime. Washington 2 timeouts to work with. There are 4 games today, 3 more tomorrow. Starts at noon Eastern time. The Meineke Car Care Bowl, Big East versus ACC. The Bulls against the Tigers. Bulldogs against UCF. AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and then the Chick-fil-A Bowl. The Gamecocks in Florida State. Looking forward to that game in prime time. Spurrier against the Seminoles. All 3 games also available online, ESPN3.com. Both Polk and Callier in the game, flanking Locker. He pitches. This is Polk. Not much. Again, they've only completed 1 pass in this first half, Todd, and it was to Locker from Callier, not by Jake Locker.
Yeah, this was early on, the first scoring possession. The throwback to the quarterback kind of fooled the Nebraska defense, but since then, they've locked down this passing game, and that's not unusual. This is one of the best pass defenses in the country.
Pretty leisurely use of the clock after the 2-yard gain on first down. This is Polk hammering ahead. Huskies do have a couple of timeouts, and you'd expect that they'd use one here.
Well, I don't know that
but
they
maybe
will,
not.
you know, because they haven't completed a pass. I think they need to go into the locker room and figure out, okay, what can we do to attack this defense? So we've got the lead. Let's not do anything to mess that up, but we have to figure out how to get something going.
Yeah, they're just going to let the play clock tick down, and finally now on 3rd and 2, snap it. Polk. Have a first down to the 45, and now less than 40 seconds to go in the half.
I mean, the problem and why Nebraska is so good in pass defense, it starts with the 2 corners. Amukamara and Dennard are lockdown guys, and so that frees up all those other interior defenders to double and combo coverage. And right now, Washington doesn't have an answer in their passing game.
Locker pump fake, tries the sidelines, and again, this time a flag does come out against Dennard. Physical play again. This was well downfield.
Well, and I'll tell you where this penalty came from. Steve Sarkisian, after the last possession, was in the officials' ears saying, hey, they're too rough with our guys, and the ball's being thrown.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot.
Dennard has just been muscling the Husky receivers. That time it was Aguilar unable to get downfield. This will move the ball to the 41.
A little bit of an acting job by Aguilar at the end of the play. But that's the style that Nebraska plays with on the corner. And you better be able to match that and find a way to get off that coverage. And right now, Washington's not doing it. They're playing right into the hands of the Nebraska corners.
Washington still with the 2 timeouts. They're getting close to field goal range as Locker takes a shot again against Dennard. This one thrown behind Curse.
Dennard got turned around a little bit on that one. Curse just not able to come down with the catch. They've got to figure a way to get him involved in the game too, because he's been their main guy, their go-to receiver. Over 1,000 yards and receptions has been non-existent tonight so far for the Husky offense.
Eric Folk, the field goal kicker, has a long of 54. This would be about a 58-yarder. Still 2 timeouts to use. So they'll run it with Polk. Gets the corner, slips down after getting a first down at the 30. Had a chance to go out of bounds, but Mukamara was there. And now with 17 seconds, they'll move the chains. And still choosing not to burn a timeout. Locker spikes the ball.
Well, they've got one extra one. I mean, they've got 2, so I'm surprised they didn't use one right there.
See the spike single and then some more urgency.
Yeah, a little faster. Spike it sooner.
Now you could tell, I think, that they weren't feeling very confident, as you pointed out, in the passing game at the beginning of this drive. I wasn't convinced they were going to try to create something, but now they're in position to kick a field goal as tackle is made behind the line, and now with 10 seconds to go after Allen stops Polk, they will use a timeout.
Well, a really nice play by Pierre Allen.
Polk, coming off that monster Apple Cup, 284 against the Cougars, has 86 yards rushing in the first half. The rest of the offense has 32 yards total.
Somehow Washington has to figure out a way to get somebody open in the middle of the field, because trying to get passing opportunities outside against these 2 corners, it's not going to happen. I don't think that the receiving core of Washington is ready to handle that, but they've got to get some kind of receivers on the inside working against safeties and linebackers where they can get some big chunk plays out of their passing game. Outside is going to be very difficult.
It's 3rd and 11. 10 seconds before halftime. Walker pump fake, fires across the middle, and it's dropped. Goodwin had it, and Locker 0 for 7 in this first half, so means he's 4 for 27 in 6 quarters against Nebraska. And a field goal attempt from Folk.
Again, this pass defense is the 5th best in the nation in pass efficiency defense, and they've made life miserable for a lot of quarterbacks this year.
So from 48 yards, junior Folk tries to make it a 6-point game, but he hooked it. That drop by Goodwin costly. Would have been a more makeable field goal had they gotten the yardage on that pass. But still, Washington has to feel great about the first half, given the fact that Lockhart has no completions and they're up 3.
It was 28-14 at halftime in Seattle back in September, and they had no idea how they were going to stop Nebraska in the second half. A much different feel in this game with a 3-point lead and their defense playing outstanding.
Martinez takes a knee, and Nebraska finds themselves in a hole as we check in with Aaron Andrews.
Chris, thanks. Well, thankfully he's all right, but I got to get, what was your reaction when you see Jake just laying on the ground after that collision?
I was obviously very concerned, you know, and he's a tough kid. I think he was a little more scared than he was injured, but thankfully he's okay.
What did the doctors tell you guys?
He had his bell rung, you know, but they checked him out and they did everything thoroughly, and he's fine.
Sark, just real quick, their pass D causing you guys so many problems. How do you counter?
Well, we need to be a little more physical on the perimeter with our wideouts, and we got to catch the ball when we throw it to him.
Thanks so much.
Locker has 16 yards rushing and has a 16-yard reception, but 0 for 7 throwing. As we go to Darry Noka, Mark May, and Lou Holtz in the studio. H&R Black halftime report. Smoke clearing from a nice halftime show. Second half coming up. The Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Week. Already a wild day. I mean, we've had the controversial call in Yankee Stadium, that frantic finish in Nashville, and a potential big upset brewing here in San Diego, Todd. It was a 35-point beatdown back in September. Huskies in their home field, but a remarkable defensive performance in the first half. Nebraska only has 102 total yards. Even though Locker hasn't completed a pass yet, they're up 3.
Yeah, it really is unbelievable. I mean, the defense has set the tempo and set the standard of the game for Washington.
It forced the fumble. Burkhead out of the Wildcat is big Alameda Tama who scoops it up. They throw a throwback to Locker to set up this Chris Pope touchdown run and quickly led 7-0. That helped them with some confidence. Nebraska would get on the board. Martinez, one of the few bright spots, a touchdown pass to Kyler Reed, but Martinez has really been held in check as a passer and as a runner.
Yeah, the Washington defense was the difference in the football game. Only 51 yards rushing for Nebraska in the first half. Remember, 383 yards when they played in September. So an outstanding effort in that first half. Can they hold up? They are undermanned in the defensive front. They're not as big as this Nebraska offense. You know Nebraska's going to come out with a little fire in their nose trying to get that running game going again. But so far, Washington, despite the fact that Jake Locker hasn't completed a pass, in control of the football game.
Locker hit hard in the first half, took a shot to the helmet. Real concern that his college career might end right there. But after a brief stay on the sideline, he only missed a few plays, was right back in there. Statistically, it's been a very rough first half. Lou Holtz pointing out at halftime, receivers not able to get open, not able to get free, and dropping a pass near the end of the first half, Todd, which would have given him a more makeable field goal.
And they've got to find something to do in their passing game. And again, you heard Steve Sarkisian tell Aaron they've got to get a little more physical on the perimeter. I think they've got to get guys open on the interior, slot receivers, put some receivers in motion. They've got to try to get something going, a matchup that favors them in the passing game.
Even if they get a receiver open, can Locker find them? The fog, the smoke is unbelievable. This happens every year. They shoot out the fireworks, and then the mist kind of gets down in this basin. It's like the fog bowl in the Pacific Northwest. I think that's Collier on the kickoff return, looking for some room on the far side and shoved out about the 35. And here comes a flag on the sidelines. We'll check that. Did they get the face mask of Collier? And that would set up the Huskies with excellent field position to start this second half.
This brings back bad memories for me. My last high school game of my career was played in a fog, and we lost 7-0 to my arch rival school.
Foul, face mask by the kicking team, number 5. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, first down.
So Anthony West grabbing the face mask, and that's another penalty, the 9th on the Cornhuskers that has plagued them this season. They've had lots of complaints about the Big 12 officials. Can't really complain tonight about too many of these calls. They've earned them.
Yep.
So Locker sets up at the 47-yard line. Polk, tailback in the I formation. Play action. Locker looking for his first completion. Instead, will scramble for no gain. Aaron?
Chris, penalties like that are what is making Bo Pelini go crazy right now. The topic in the locker room at halftime, just sloppy plays, missed tackles, just shooting ourselves in the foot. He said Washington's not doing anything different that they did in the first matchup in September. We're just playing bad right now. And by the way, I got the play-by-play down here. You guys take this quarter off till the smoke clears. We're good. I'll give you the numbers.
Thankfully, it's clearing pretty quickly here, and we appreciate the support. And 2nd and 11. Again, hand off, and it'll set up a 3rd and long as Cameron Meredith was there to stop the runner. Now for tonight's game track, brought to you by Nationwide Insurance.
Now the biggest difference is just that 51 yards rushing compared to what they did the first time these two teams played. I guess you could say great balance though for Nebraska, right?
I'd like to have that to be up 250.
Yeah, right.
We'll see if Locker can complete a pass. And 3rd and 8, looks right, throws downfield, has a man, and there it is. Completion inside the Nebraska 25 to DeAndre Goodwin, who had the drop late in the half.
Well,
long away the first completion.
He came from the slot, and see, instead of being against the corner, he was against Eric Hay, a slot receiver on the inside working against a safety instead of against a corner. He got separation, and Locker was there with the football.
Now crucial for the Huskies if they could open this 2nd half by getting some points and extending this lead. Locker bobbles it, keeps it, has a crease, hammers down into the end zone. Wow. Third and 8, hadn't completed a pass all night, finds Goodwin and then muscles into the end zone.
It started out as the same play that Washington scored their first touchdown on. And again, there was a blitz from the outside by Gomes, but this time Jake Locker kept it, ran outside the blitzer, and ran to the end zone.
And in a minute, 42 seconds into the 2nd half, with Folk making the conversion, Locker and the Huskies, 2 years removed from an 0-12 season, lead Nebraska by 10. Jake Locker got away with a spike after that touchdown run. It had to feel good. Him reporting he was really scared he was going to be knocked out of the game and have his career end on that hit. Instead, able to come back in and lead Washington to a quick touchdown drive. The lead up to 10. This is Niles Paul trying to make something happen, and he's upended at the 27-yard line. Big hit on the coverage by Princeton Fuemanoa. Expert breakdown brought to us by Farmers Insurance. Todd, you're the expert.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first touchdown that Washington had, Polk ran the ball right through here, and Dejon Gomes came on a blitz and missed him. Well, the same thing's going to happen. Gomes is going to come unblocked again, but he's not going to miss the back, but he doesn't see the quarterback, Jake Locker, pull the ball out. A beautiful read by Locker to pull that ball out on the zone read, and then some poor tackling at the end of the play, or attempted tackling by Nebraska.
And restraint from the official, not going to throw the flag on the spike. Hallou takes off, and Roy Hallou Jr. has had a very quiet first half, busted out across the 46. Fellner on the stop, but he gained 16.
Yeah, nice job by Hallou, just running north and south. He's got that burst. You mentioned the calf injury that's bothered him down the stretch of the season, but he showed good burst on that play.
Talked about the success of Washington's defense in the first half. It's taking great effort and concentration and short tackling, but Nebraska always just one play away from a big touchdown run. Martinez, play action, fires far side. McNeil bounces off a tackler and picks up about 4.
Important drive right here for Nebraska. Washington came out at halftime. They got their energy back. They got the quick touchdown. Even if Nebraska doesn't score a touchdown, even if they get in field goal range, they've got to move the football some. They've got to get some confidence on offense.
And Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator for the Cornhuskers, in contention for the head coaching job at Miami of Ohio. Gains only about a yard, and here comes a 3rd and 5.
Yep. And again, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. The thing that Nebraska has going for it, even though they're not a great drop back pass team in terms of pass protection, in terms of an experienced quarterback, his ability to scramble and run, if it breaks down, makes them very dangerous in this situation.
The tight end having a brief conversation with Martinez. Helou to the quarterback's left. Pressure. Sack. Huge game for the big guy, Alameda Teamo. He had the fumble return in the first quarter, and now the huge sack to kill the drive. The 3rd Washington sack, Todd.
Yeah, and I put this on the line. That's a 3-man rush. The reason that Martinez held the ball is because there were 8 guys dropping. You've got 5 guys blocking up there, 6 counting a running back against 3 rushers, and they get free to your quarterback.
Aguilar received the Henry punt. And at the 17, good coverage. Can't say enough about a short-handed Husky defensive line. They're missing 3 guys who played against Nebraska in the first meeting. It's a very thin rotation, but their energy is holding up. They are playing like a hungry team trying to redeem themselves.
Well, it's a cool night, number 1.
Personal foul, face mask by the kicking team, number 38. 15-yard penalty, first down.
2 of those already in the second half on kick plays for Nebraska.
That's right. The flag there, and Graham Stoddard. It was the kickoff return.
Yep.
The penalty there that set the Huskies up with good field position. And now, instead of pinning Washington back deep in their own end, Locker takes over at the 36. 10 penalties. 93 yards marched off against Nebraska so far. Locker on first down. Scrambles. Shows the instinct, the elusiveness, and picks up 12. Courtney Osborne tackled him, but you can see that Locker's looking to run a lot quicker this time.
He is. And you know what he told us? He says, I've got to have a better feel in this game of when to tuck it and run. He's had that tonight. He's thrown the ball away when he's supposed to throw it away, and he's run it when he's supposed to run it.
For a guy who's 230, you see that acceleration, that burst that the scouts here tonight love to see. Locker still has it, fires it short. And the catch made underneath by Goodwin. Picks up about 4. Gets into Nebraska territory. Gomes trying to rip that ball out at the end of the play.
Gomes, he was definitely trying to get it, wasn't he?
So Goodwin has both completions that Locker has thrown tonight. This is Polk on the fly sweep. And Polk corralled. Nice tackle again by Levante David. Just had a brilliant season. Miami Northwestern High School had some academic issues, went to a junior college, and he's been a stud this year.
You know, the amazing thing, when we talked to both Carl and Bo Pelini, they said, you know, he had some games this season where he had like 16, 17 tackles, but in terms of grading him on technique and being in the right spot, didn't really grade out great, but makes plays.
And
knows where the football
broke
is.
the school record, Todd, of Barrett Rood for tackles in a season with 150 as Locker scrambles on third down, fires a dart low and incomplete. He tried to get it to Goodwin. It'd be 4th and 3.
Yeah, that's a tough catch. Now that, you know, Goodwin missed one right before the end of the half that he should have caught. This was low and hard to his outside and a little tough to make that catch.
So a big stop for the Nebraska defense after the penalty in the first down scramble by Locker. And Burkhead, the returner, never a chance to make a play as there was a collision. One of his blockers and the cover guys, and the ball bounces out of bounds. So bad field position for Martinez as the Huskers will take over down 10 midway third quarter. One of the great tourist attractions, the massive USS Midway, downtown San Diego. Bridgepoint Education Building, downtown San Diego, where a surprise is brewing. Nebraska, 2-touchdown favorite, down by 10 and backed up. A very poor field position. This is Burkhead. Quick burst up the middle. He had limped off top. We thought he might be slow by injury, but Aaron reporting that it's Troy Halou, who has been nursing a calf problem. Last couple of games, it appears to be a little bit gimpy. And Martinez not healthy. None of the Nebraska backs really, and including Niles Paul, you throw him in there. Nobody's really at top speed at this point.
Well, you hope to get guys healthy with the time off for bowl preparations, but you need more time.
One of a few solid first down gains for Nebraska there. Sets up Martinez. A second and short run for a first down. Nate Williams tackled him. This is a crucial drive, don't you feel, for Nebraska? They've only crossed midfield twice. They've had poor field position all night long.
Yeah, it is important that, again, they're still within striking distance. Now, this is not an offense, though, that can play catch-up real well. And so they've got to just get some momentum and some confidence offensively, and they've got to stay ahead of the chains. I mean, Washington has beat them on first down tonight pretty much consistently.
This is Burkhead to the right. Another big gain, and Rex Burkhead muscling out near midfield. He looks like he's feeling okay now.
This is a good power run. They've run this play a couple times. Just the quarterback just going to turn, kind of a backhand off to Burkhead, and good power blocking out in front. DJ Jones, the right tackle, number 73, leading the way out there.
So Roy Halou Jr. back in the game now. They fake it to him. Martinez will keep. And loses the ball. Huskers recover. The ball knocked backwards, and Halou Jr. had to fall on it.
Wow.
Second time Martinez has fumbled. He has not lost one yet.
Well, his own man knocked the ball out of his hands, I think. DJ Jones was trying to get back into the play to block, and watch and see number 73's left arm knocks the ball out of Martinez.
The quarterback ran into him.
It's
I wouldn't
bad
play
enough.
the tackle there.
It's bad enough that the guys in black jerseys are knocking it out.
So they lose a yard on the play. And it's Burkhead behind the quarterback. Martinez flips it to him in the flat. Nice one-handed catch, but he'll lose a yard as Ayewo's had a monster game up to make the tackle.
Well, they knock the ball loose on first down, and after Nebraska had a little momentum, then they get the negative play with a good tackle in space on second down, and now it's third and long again for the Husker offense.
The D-line playing shorthanded has been doing a great job with the linebackers. Ayewo, Dennison, and Foster have been all over the field for Washington.
It's the strength of the defense, and they have asserted themselves tonight.
Play clock ticking down on 3rd and 12. Martinez pressured again and dropped. Sack number 4, and that was Mason Foster, who's got out war paint dripping down his face. He's been making tackles like that as Martinez limps up. This is a bad sign. Again, it's the left toe, it's the right ankle. Pierce said he's re-injured that right ankle.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, and he has not looked good in third and long situations.
Henry, normally reliable punter, shanks that one off the side of his foot. Everything going wrong suddenly for Nebraska. And they'll spot the ball at the 44, which is what Henry averages per punt. Only 16 yards, and Pelini's team talked a good game all week, Todd, about taking this Washington team seriously. Happy to be back at the Holiday Bowl the second straight year, but they have not played like it. And you saw the pain evident on Martinez's face. This is Polk, slips a tackle in the backfield and gets about 4.
Well, You know, we talked about Bo Pelini and how he thinks so highly of the Navy SEALs, and he had some come and speak to his team. And one of the things that stood out to him most is part of their whole deal over there is that greatness is found in the details and paying attention to the little things. And Nebraska has not done a great job with the little things tonight.
See Cody Green, the sophomore, started against Colorado when Martinez was injured. He can go. And a slip there. That was Collier losing a couple of yards. I think we're going to start to see as it gets cooler and cooler tonight, the footing become an issue. All the rain that fell in San Diego. This field was underwater about 7-8 days ago. They had to pump out more than 1 million gallons to get it ready for the Poinsettia Bowl. Hadn't been a big factor so far tonight, but players begin to slip a bit more. 3rd and 8.
This is where Jake Locker needs to be smart. He's done a nice job of managing the game. If it's not there, your defense is playing really well.
Locker scrambles, takes off. 1st down. Gomes forced him out at the 43 of the Huskers. Picked up 10.
Yep. I tell you what, I think Washington got away with a block in the back by Goodwin at the end of this play. Locker easily had the 1st down, and I thought Goodwin blocked Gomes illegally in the back, and this play could have come back. Locker has the 1st down, and watch the end of this play, the block by Goodwin right at the end. Very lucky that didn't get flagged.
Action, Locker looks downfield, now flips it short. Complete to Polk, who's an effective receiver, and he's got 1st down yardage.
See, you might look at Jake Locker's numbers and say, what? 1st round draft pick quarterback? There's more to playing the position than just throwing for gaudy numbers. You know, Mark and Lou talked about it at halftime. He has managed the game. The first time they played, he tried to force the issue. He's not forcing the issue tonight. He's throwing when he can. He's running well with authority, and he's taking care of the football. He's managing the game, and that's what a quarterback has to do. And he's got his team in position to possibly win a huge game.
Thaddeus Randall, freshman defensive tackle for Nebraska, is being attended to on the field as you see Martinez continue to limp around and wince in pain. He's had an ankle injury since the Iowa State game, injured the toe against Texas A&M. That was a real problem against Oklahoma. And yeah, you can see that right ankle get twisted underneath on the tackle. The pressure has been constant by Washington. Some huge key sacks in this game, and perhaps Martinez hasn't been very quick to react in the pocket.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's seeing things real well. Maybe a little confusion with some of the coverages, but again, even it's not all-out blitzes. It's just 3, 4, 5-man rushes that Nebraska's having a difficult time protecting their quarterback.
No helmet on for Martinez. Showed you a look at Cody Green, sophomore, who's the backup quarterback. But it's Locker trying to add the lead on 1st down now. Polk hammers straight ahead. You can hear the pads popping as Pierre Allen collided with him. Three for 11, 41 yards. He has a reception which set up a touchdown. He's run for 62. Again, all the scouts here at Qualcomm getting the final look at Locker as a collegian.
Well, he has a lot of upside. I mean, his best football is ahead of him. It's not behind him.
This is Polk. Knifing. Still running hard down to the 15. And we talked to Jake Locker, and he's not a guy that puts money very high in the list. And you might be listening and scoff at that because many have said, Todd, that he may have cost himself $10, perhaps $15 million in guaranteed money had he come out and been drafted very high last year. He has ignored that stuff and tunes out the static better than any high-profile college player I've ever seen.
Yeah. An amazing maturity, an amazing presence, and he knows what's important to him in his life and in his family's life.
And he's really loved playing college football. Has not regretted the decision at all. Empty backfield. Locker scrambling, trying to buy time, and now just throws it away. Jared Crick on the pressure. Todd McShay, one of our scouts, and Mel Kiper do their listing. You see that preseason #1 overall pick in their mind, Jake Locker. The Nebraska game was when the stock began to drop, and frankly, he's listed as the #3 quarterback on the board. So mid-first round.
Yeah, but the thing is, and that may be true, all it takes is one NFL team to really love him and what he brings to the table. And there'll be a team out there that'll be a big fan of Jake Locker.
Locker again takes off. Quarterback draw. Didn't appear to be much there, but you can see the quickness. He just made something of that play at 1st and goal.
You know, it's kind of like in basketball, if you're a shooter and your shot's not there, you got to find other ways to make your team better, either passing or rebounding. Jake Locker's not getting it done throwing it, but he sure is running the football with toughness. Lowered his shoulder. Remember, he took a severe shot to the head early in this game, and he's not backing away from running the football at all.
He just ran through the attempted arm tackle of Terrence Moore. Huskies quickly to the line on 1st and goal. Polk on the toss. Stopped for no gain.
I like this guy, too. He's a good back, this Chris Polk.
Huge for Nebraska, Todd, to try to keep Washington to a field goal here, keep this to a 2-possession game. The way Martinez has struggled and seems to be limping over there, if Washington can go up 17 here.
Well, and again, if you take away the Nebraska running game and they have to play catch up by just throwing it, that's not their game.
Second and goal. Hammering straight ahead is Polk down to the 1-yard line. It'll be 3rd down.
I'll tell you what, we've talked about Locker. We've talked about Polk. I think we got to say something about this Washington offensive line also. It's been a banged-up group. They've had 6 different combinations of starters on this offensive line because of injuries through the year. And they got manhandled when these two teams played in September. They've protected Jake Locker tonight, and they've opened up some running lanes for Chris Polk as well.
And now they're a yard away from a 17-point lead. Locker's got it. Hit short of the goal line. That was Dennard, better known as a cover corner, making a physical play.
That was a heck of a play by Dennard. Because, I mean, it looked, when he had him out there one-on-one, like there's no way Jake Locker's not going to score. And Dennard did not hesitate to come up and stick his nose right in there. Watch Dennard close and wrap up. He knew he had help coming, but he wasn't going to let go.
And so 15 minutes to play here. Decision for Sarkisian, a yard away from the end zone, up by 10.
I like to come right out.
The Bridgeport Education Holiday Bowl, 4th quarter about to start, and Steve Sarkisian's going to go for it on 4th and goal from the 1, Todd.
And a lot of times they like to come right out of the huddle real quick and snap it quickly.
This for a 17-point lead. It's Polk. Hammering straight ahead. No signal. They've stopped him. Cameron Meredith and the Cornhusker defense stops Washington a foot from the goal line. And will take over still down 10 with a quarter to play.
I like the call, though, by Steve Sarkisian to go for it and try to make it a 24-7 lead. The way your defense is playing, you've got a hobbled quarterback on the other side. Even if you don't make it, they start 99 yards away.
See the ball come loose from Polk.
I think he was trying to reach it over the goal line at the end of the play, but he was already down.
So twice the Huskers have stopped Washington on 4th and 1.
It's a big-time stop.
Now a big-time pressure moment for Cody Green, who has to take over 99 yards away and down 10, with Martinez apparently hobbled by the re-aggravated ankle.
Oh, take a look at that attempted touchdown run. Polk is going to run right in here, and everything's going to crash down. If he just stays outside another foot, he probably goes in, but he felt the pressure, and he fell inside with the run and ran right into Meredith and Levante David, and a big stop for the Nebraska defense.
But now the Nebraska offense, led by Cody Green, who takes his first snap and just tries to sneak ahead and got nothing. Alameda Teamu continues his big night. Tough situation for Cody Green.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, you want to come in the game, you're a competitor, you want to play, but when you're 99 yards away and you've not been able to really muster a running game against this Husky defense, that's tough. Tough situation to be in.
Green came in as a change of pace quarterback against the Huskies back in September and promptly fumbled. It was a crucial play at that time of the game. Burkhead out of the I formation, fights for two.
I just can't tell you how much different this game looks and feels because of the physicality of the Washington defense. Nebraska had 51 yards rushing at halftime. They had 383 yards in the game in September. It's a completely different game, and what they've done is they've forced Nebraska to pass the ball when the Washington defense wants them to pass, and then they've been able to pressure the quarterback.
And they have not given up the huge explosive plays to Martinez and Helu.
That's right.
That hurt him in the first game.
Guys that ran for over 100 yards.
Saw Deshaun Matthews, number 96, the defensive end, helped off. It's already a thin group there. Matthews playing more tonight than he normally would. 3rd and 7. Play action. Green from his end zone. Pressured. Flags come down as Green scampers for a first down and a lot more. But now we'll check the flag in the end zone. If it's a hold, it's a safety.
It could be a safety. If the penalty occurred in the end zone, it's 2 points for Washington.
Holding on the offense, number 74. That foul occurred in the end zone, resulting in a safety.
Yet another flag, and this one a costly one, as Ricky Henry is their best offensive lineman. He's an all-conference player, held in the end zone.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, this guy in the middle of the Washington defense has had a monster game. Ta'amu has had an incredible game tonight for the Huskies.
Look at the quickness which forced Henry. He got his money's worth.
Yeah.
That was certainly a hold.
An undermanned defensive line tonight, and number 74 has been a man on the inside.
Forcing his opposite number to hold, and now it's a 12-point game early 4th quarter, with the Huskies getting the football back. All right, thank you. I think Canalik to kick off from the 20 following the safety, and this is Collier. Following a couple of blockers out across the 45. So even though the 4th and goal is not successful, Todd, it sets the ball up to the 1 and leads to the safety. And now we'll see if Locker and the Huskies can bleed some clock. It still is a 12-point game.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, right now Washington has to say, look, we can't get complacent. We got to still be aggressive on offense, but we also have to recognize our defense is playing out of their minds, and Nebraska's playing their backup quarterback right now. So let's not do anything stupid either.
Polk sidesteps a man and picks up about 2. We know that this has been a struggling Washington program. The defenses have struggled a lot, but if I told you that was Washington's first safety since 2003, would you be surprised? Wow. 7 years we had a safety, and it comes on the holding call. Expect a steady diet of Chris Polk. He's a runner that gets stronger as the game goes on. His average per carry better in the 4th quarter than it is in the first 3. They fake it to him. Walker on the bootleg. Still alive. Walker lowers the head and picks up about 5 before Cassidy stops him. I don't think this is a quarterback who's gun shy.
No, and part of what he was doing on this play was trying to not go out of bounds, to keep the clock moving. But then once he cut back in, he said, I can actually gain some yards on this play, and he lowered his head and got some positive gain.
A couple of defenders slipped on the turf as they tried to stop on a dime. And Not a difference between 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 12, which it would have been. Locker again, quarterback draw, knifes forward, takes a big shot in the back, but makes the first down.
And you mentioned the difference between 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 12. He can pick that up with another quarterback run.
He's been nursing sore ribs. He says he feels a lot better now than at the end of the season. Gomes delivered the shot in the back, but he's feeling no pain right now. He is sensing a bowl win, really the fulfillment of a goal, a winning season, his final college game.
And then this, what he's doing right now, is what he came back to Washington for his senior year.
Polk hammered by Will Compton, no gain. He took another shot to the helmet here.
Yeah. Same guy, Cassidy. Yep. That's who hit him in the first quarter.
You're not supposed to lead with your helmet as a defender. No flag on that one, but I'm just impressed by Locker, who took that shot that was admittedly very scary for him, and he has not been the least bit timid at all since then. 67 yards rushing for the quarterback. Play action on 2nd down. Scrambling again. Before he goes down, throws it to Polk. And Chris Polk down near the 30 has a first down.
See, those are big-time plays. Again, it's not a lot of yards, but that's a big-time play by a big-time quarterback. He's got an unblocked guy rushing right into his face. And not only does he avoid the sack, but he has the awareness and the presence to get a completion for a first down.
Now Polk stopped for no gain. Just a split second before Locker's knee hit the turf. He got the ball away.
It's just amazing to think that just 2 short years ago, this Washington football program was 0-12. And you know, Steve Sarkisian has come in and done something pretty dramatic.
Well, he inherited the wreckage of the end of the Willingham era. There's been 74 winless teams, Todd, in the last half century. 12 have gotten to a bowl 2 years removed from the winless season. It's Callier. Only 6 of those in what you'd call a BCS AQ conference. So 6 times out of 74 winless teams get into a bowl within 2 years. Admittedly, it's easier to get to a bowl now than it used to be. But Washington does not have a cheap 6-6 record. They have the 2nd strongest schedule in the country, according to Jeff Sagarin's computer. They played a tough non-conference schedule, played 9 conference games. There are some cheesy 6-6 bowl teams. This is not one of them.
No, and that changed my, it changed my opinion. I didn't think any 6-6 team should be in a bowl game because I thought it was rewarding mediocrity. But you're right. There's difference 6-6 teams, and this one here has earned their right to play in the postseason, and they're playing like it again tonight.
So Sarkisian will call a timeout as the play clock runs down here. 3rd and long as they are within field goal range and up 12. Here in San Diego, this would be by far the biggest surprise of the bowl season. Washington hammered by 35 at home to Nebraska in September. 2 touchdown underdogs tonight, up by 12. Needing 8 on 3rd down. Can't really afford a negative play to stay in field goal range for Eric Folk. Empty backfield. Here comes the pressure. Locker just throws the way. Couldn't take a sack there.
I think that was supposed to be a quarterback draw, and Nebraska collapsed it. And Jake Locker just tried to make something happen. I think this was going to be a design run, and he saw a blitz coming, and there was nowhere to go, and ended up throwing it away. That's probably the 5th time tonight that he's intentionally thrown a ball away to avoid a negative play.
Folk missed from 48 earlier. Missed from 47 for a 15-point lead. Low line drive off the upright. Didn't really get a hold of it. Barely got off the ground and hits the upright. So Nebraska still hanging in, down 12.
Hanging in, and they finally get a little breathing room field position wise. It seemed like this whole half they've started deep in their own territory. And so now back on the field comes Cody Glenn. Or Green, I mean.
And Green, who at least has better field position than his first possession when he was at the 1. And the hold on Henry gave the Huskies a safety. Roy Halou Jr. into the game. Takes the handoff. It's about 3 on the left side. Court Dennison, another tackle. Aaron?
Well, Kristen, just talking about Jake Locker and the effort this Washington defense has played with tonight. We sat down with a few guys that just said, look, we know he came back to get us in a bowl game. We know he did all this for the program. And we need to play better for him. We owe it to him because we've messed up some games. We've cost some games. And we know we've disappointed him. So this defense also just sharing with us that they want this guy to go out on a great note.
Yeah, you're right, Aaron. That's Court Dennison, one of the guys who expressed that limping around. He's trying to play through some pain. But these guys were not just embarrassed by Nebraska earlier. They suffered the depths. I mean, these guys came from successful high school programs, Todd. I mean, you never played on a winless team, but imagine having to go to work. And this is a tough sport to play when you're having no success on Saturdays. They all say it's made them stronger.
You appreciate success a whole lot more than somebody that's never experienced that kind of a season.
That's Quentin Richardson, the corner, is limping off. He's seen an already thin Washington defense have a couple of guys helped off tonight. Adam Long, the sophomore corner, is going to have to fill in.
Here's the thing now. As well as you've played as a defense, you can't let up now at all if you're Washington, because it's a 2-possession game. I mean, it's 2 scores away, Nebraska is, from taking the lead in this game. So there can't be any let up.
Exactly. And they have explosive players like Halou, Burkhead. Very quiet night from Miles Paul, by the way. Was hit on the exchange. Halou hammered. He barely got the ball from Green. And Kalani Aldrich, a backup defensive end, was right there. Methodical handoff.
You know, they've only been playing 5 defensive linemen in this game for most of the night. And Aldrich, that may be only the first of a few plays that he's been in. And he is right there to read it and create another negative play on an early down.
Huskers have 94 rushing yards. That's it. And then midway in the 4th quarter. And fake it. Green looking downfield. Has some time. Now runs out of time and gets dropped for no gain.
See, I mean, they ran play action on 3rd and 11. I mean, Washington's not going to bite on play action on 3rd and 11. That's not their strong suit.
Mason Foster wasn't buying it. Yet another tackle for the leader on this team. He's got 12 tonight, which gives him 378 for his Washington career. That's a much better boot from Henry. Aguilar on the run at the 30, just scooped out of bounds after about an 8-yard return. So Washington, still protecting a 12-point lead, takes over. 7:54 left. Our DirecTV mobile studio. You spent a lot of time in that soccer time. Informing the people. They'll be rolling north to Pasadena, and of course we'll have on New Year's afternoon, 4:30 Eastern time on ESPN, Wisconsin, representing the traditional power conference, TCU, fighting for all the non-AQs. That speedy defense against that power running game. Talked to Gary Patterson last night. Not even the Horned Frogs coach is sure how that's going to play out when Wisconsin's running game faces his fast defense.
It's going to be interesting to watch.
On 1st down, Polk trying to do a little power running himself, picks up 5.
You almost get the feel here that for Nebraska to get back in this, their defense is going to have to do something. They're going to have to create a turnover or make a play. The offense is having a very difficult time driving the football, and they've not had any explosive plays at all in the run or passing game. This defense,
it's shocking, 109 total yards.
It is shocking. But the way the game has gone, it's the Nebraska defense that's going to have to rise up and make a play.
Career high 30 carries now for Polk. And Polk still rumbling. First down, and instead of making a play, it looks like the Nebraska defense's will might be breaking right now.
Boy, did you see Polk covering up the football, too? I mean, he knows at this point that's the only chance Nebraska has is to create something, and watch at the end of the play. Boy, he really covers it up.
Polk's a sophomore, with Locker moving on. He figures to be the stud on this Husky offense next season. He's the guy that had the game winner on the final play against Cal. 284 in the Apple Cup, and now a monster bowl game. Collier spells him, and the freshman runs left for no gain.
I tell you, what this game shows you as much as anything is how important momentum and confidence are in college football, and how things affect you. This Nebraska team, 2 gut-wrenching losses in their last 3 games down the stretch coming into this game. Washington, on the other hand, they were sitting there at 3-6. They had just gotten blown out in 3 games in a row by Arizona, Stanford, and Oregon, and they win their final 3 games to get here. You can just tell there's a different vibe on both teams.
Play action on the boot. Spinning away, and now was it out of bounds. Fran Tarkenton, like for you old timers there, as he did the pirouette, got pressured by Meredith. There's Scott Locker, Jake's dad, works as a drywaller. His wife works for a plumbing company. Just solid blue collar people. A great upbringing for Locker. He's an impressive guy, and you feel good if he can come away with the win. Finished 7-6. Hadn't had a winning season yet in his college career. You need 8 on 3rd down. Here comes pressure, and a completion short of 1st down yardage to runs there. And check it, it's Jermaine Kearse, the receiver's had a tremendous year, 12 touchdown receptions. Finally makes his first catch. Hadn't been a big night for the passing game.
It has not.
So it'll be 4th down and about 4. Tonight's storyline brought to you by Mobile One, and the Washington defense is the story. After 5:33 surrendered in that big loss to Nebraska, they've allowed just 109 yards. It's been the ground game for Washington, 221 total rushing yards, and Nebraska penalties, self-destruction, a big component as well.
And a lot of those penalties, you know, a lack of concentration or lack of focus kind of penalties. And the run defense of Washington and not allowing the explosive big runs, just such a dramatic turnaround from when these teams played before.
Kyle Rasp will try to knock the punt dead deep in Nebraska territory, aims for the far sidelines, bounces near the pylon, and they'll say it's a touchback. Just missed, burying Nebraska in the coffin corner.
He did it once already tonight and almost did it a second time.
Instead, Cody Green will take over at the 20-yard line. Nebraska, of course, off to the Big Ten after this game. They'll be grouped in what's been named the Legends Division with the 2 Michigan schools, Iowa, Minnesota, and Northwestern. And they'll try to get to Indy for the conference championship game next season.
They get to play their first Big Ten conference game up in Madison.
Yes.
That's a nice, easy way to ease into it, right?
And then the home opener against the Buckeyes.
Yeah, right.
Sure. And of course, these teams will play again in September in Nebraska. Green straight back, fires over the middle into traffic. Dangerous pass, almost picked off as he tried to get it to Kinney, but Foster, who's made so many tackles, a great job in coverage.
Yeah, right on that. And Kinney is a big receiver working on the linebacker, and he was not able to get any separation from Mason Foster.
He's a senior. Dennison right there, junior guys again who lived through the pain of that winless season. And that is a big part of the motivation, the experience. These guys have been charged up to play, and You said it, so often bowl games are decided by the team that's happier to be there, that wants it. And how much of this, if Nebraska doesn't come back, and they'll take some heat at home because there's high standards in this program, how much of it do you think is because they weren't prepared to play their best game?
Well, I think there's some of that for sure. I mean, as much as the coaches would have tried to convince these young guys that this won't be the same Washington team, I'm not sure that they all bought it. And then when they did realize it, it was a little bit too late.
Green fires downfield over the hands of McNeil. It'll be 4th and 10.
But I think it's more a case of Washington and what they've done than what Nebraska didn't do. I really do. I just think the mindset, the aggressiveness, the physical style that Washington has played with tonight at the line of scrimmage, both their offensive line and their defensive line, they've been the superior football team because of that.
They'll go for it on 4th and 10. 11 possessions for Nebraska tonight, 7 points. If there's any sliver of hope, they need 10 yards here. Green steps up, fires far side, and a leaping catch made for a first down by McNeil.
Boy, he was wide open too. I mean, if Cody Green could get him that football without him having to jump, he might even be still running because there was no defender over there for Washington on that sideline throw.
What a tremendous fingertip grab by the converted tight end. I mean, Green almost blew it.
Yeah.
The game was...
Prior to the snap, the previous play is under further review.
And we'll see if it was, in fact, a catch, but McNeil so open, didn't have to be a perfect throw.
And great awareness by McNeil, knowing he had to get a foot down in the sidelines. I mean, that's a secure catch. He gets the foot down. That's a tremendous effort on his part.
What they're looking, I guess, is the possession tight. He went up with 2 hands. As he came to the ground, the ball came just in his right arm, but he did have the right foot down in the field.
I think that's clearly a catch.
And the 17-yard gain gives Nebraska a first down. Still 63 yards from the end zone, needing 2 scores, 5-11. It's only 54 snaps for this Nebraska offense. And that has been
on the field is confirmed. First down.
A key component in a very thin defense. They haven't had to be out on the field very long. And still just 143 total yards.
No explosive plays, and they've won first down consistently tonight, the Washington defense. And it's forced Nebraska into plays and situations that are not in their wheelhouse. Even this right here, playing, like a 2-minute pass offense is not Nebraska-style football.
Washington brings 5, some late pressure, and Green, some miscommunication with Brockmeyer, the receiver. He broke the route off. Would you blitz Green every time if you're Nick Holt?
Well, I would blitz him some. I wouldn't do it all the time. I would also rush 3 and drop 8 because, again, I don't think they're used to being in this situation. And he's certainly not used to reading pass coverage too much.
Fires for McNeil, who again was wide open, but just wore his hands. 1 for 6 now.
Nick Holt is going crazy on the sideline. He was out there halfway to his defensive secondary.
He came from USC.
Yeah, he's a fired-up guy now.
He's such an upbeat, positive guy, but on the field, he admits he looks like a crazy man.
He talks about how rewarding it's been the last 2 years coaching here after all the success at SC, just to see these guys get better and be in a position like this.
3rd and 10, Green fires far side. Again, complete for a first down to Brandon Kinney as he leave him a big cushion.
Yeah.
That's Adam Long, the backup corner. Quentin Richardson, we saw him limp off, and so Long, the sophomore, having to fill in.
Well, you certainly want to keep everything in front of you. I mean, you want to make them use clock, make them run a lot of plays, but you don't want to be too soft that it's easy for them, especially since it's the backup quarterback.
Green has converted completions on 4th and long and 3rd and long. Drops back on 1st down. Again, it was McNeil trying to work free. Trufant covering him. Cody Green, I think he knew he had McNeil again with a better throw.
Yeah, he's had some good matchups, and he's had some open guys. And the offensive line's done a better job in this possession, giving their quarterback some time.
Huskies rush 4 on 2nd and long, and Green has time and delivers a strike on the far side. Beginning to gain some confidence. Kyler Reed, the tight end, has it inside the Huskies 35.
Now Washington is trying to play kind of a soft cover 2 with the 2 deep safety, and so there's some holes in that zone defense. And right now, Cody Green's doing a pretty nice job finding those holes.
But the false start will back him up. Jeremiah Searles didn't have the snap count.
False start on the offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Put Nebraska over 100 yards in penalties with their 12th flag tonight. SportsCenter comes up next on ESPN3.com. You can have live coverage of the Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl trophy ceremony. Will it go to the Huskies and Steve Sarkisian, or can Green rally the Huskers? Helou to his right on 1st and 15. Pressure. And flipped quickly over the middle, incomplete. Adam Long in the corner tipped the ball as they brought the blitz.
Yeah, that time they came after Cody Green. I think Nick Holt said, okay, that's enough. We've given him some easy cushions. We've given him some holes. Now let's see if he can make some throws under duress.
Go back to rushing 4. Green stands in, but nobody was open. Good coverage that time downfield. Tried to get it to Kinney. 3rd and 15.
You know, especially with Niles Paul not in the game and not 100%. The rest of the Nebraska receivers, they don't have explosive guys. They're going to run by you and really threaten your defense vertically.
Rush 5, and they get Green. Nope. Gets away, but not for long. Mason Foster perhaps punctuating a monster night.
Yeah, all 3 of these linebackers, Foster, Ayawa, Dennison, and they have all played outstanding tonight.
Hard to overstate the sweet feeling that the guys in the purple and black would feel after being embarrassed on their home field. 4th down. Green takes a shot into the end zone, knocked away at the last minute. That was Adam Long, the backup corner, defending on Kinney. And the Huskies will take over.
I think it might have hit him in the head. I think it's using your head, man.
Yeah, backup forced into duty. And a total team effort. Boink, right off that gold helmet you like so much.
Love the helmet. Great looking helmet.
And it has been a great looking defense in those helmets tonight. Nebraska, 151 total yards, down by 12. Huskies trying to close out the Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl. Looking ahead at the Capital One. You'll be down there in Orlando. All those connections between Nick Saban and his staff with Michigan State. But just 4-3 in the last 7.
Yeah.
Spartans just a one-loss team.
I'll tell you what, I like Michigan State also, and even though a lot of people thinking they don't match up maybe with the SEC team in Alabama, but I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's had an outstanding season as a quarterback, good game manager. They've got good balance on offense. I think that's the thing that concerns the Alabama defense as much as anything, the balance of the Spartan offense.
This is the sure-handed Polk. 7. If Nebraska does not come back, what is this loss for the Huskers, which would drop into 10-4 a season of some turmoil? What does this mean?
Well, you know, it's a real disappointing loss, I think. I think it's a step backwards. I think everything else that's happened since Bo's been at Nebraska has been a step forward. You know, a learning process, a growing process, and they'll come back from it. They'll grow from it, but it feels like a step backwards, you know, whereas, you know, the loss in the Big 12 championship game wasn't so much. This is.
Polk continues his big evening, dragged down near the 25-yard line by Cassidy. But Chris Polk.
Yeah, and how about the awareness to stay in bounds? I mean, you know, he's getting as much as he can, as many yards as he can, then he gets down and stays in bounds.
Clock ticking down near 2 minutes. Again, knifing up the middle. Gets 10 more. Again, he followed up 284 in the Apple Cup, second most rushing yards ever. Washington history has 177 on a career high 34 carries now.
It's just amazing to me what this season, how it's turned around for Washington. There was a 3-game stretch midway through the year where they lost to Arizona, Stanford, and Oregon by a combined 138-30. And they sat at 3-6 at that point. And they came back to win their final 3, and it looks like they'll win their 4th in a row to cap the season.
This is Collier, the freshman, fighting for the end zone. Apparently, Polk's evening is done unless they just send it back in there for maybe a 35th carry. I thought that was the curtain call. As the clock ticks down near a minute. And the crowd on their feet. It's been 8 years since the guys in purple have been to a bowl game. It gets no sweeter than this feeling for a team that was in the absolute depths of college football 2 years ago. A laughingstock, considered perhaps the worst team in an AQ conference. And now the victory formation. And Jake Locker, in his final game as a collegian, reaches his dream. Not a great night throwing the ball, but as you pointed out, the little things, the toughness to come back from a big hit, and the best for Sarkisian. They'll finish up at 7-6.
Yeah. It's a tremendous finish for the Washington Huskies, and a bright future ahead of them.
And they reversed the verdict of a 35-point home field embarrassment back in September. Capital One brings you the player of the game. We voted for Mason Foster at a couple tackles for loss, 12 total tackles. It could have been a lot of guys in that Husky defense.
Well, the Husky defense, 11 tackles for loss behind the line of scrimmage. They set the tone for the game from the very first possession, and they never let up.
And there's going to be a celebration in the Huskies team hotel, and a well-deserved celebration back in Seattle, because maybe only the guys inside the walls of the locker room believed this kind of thing was possible when they were sitting at 3-6. They didn't beat great teams down the stretch to earn this trip, but boy, they made the most of it once they got to San Diego. Aaron?
All right, well, what went right in round 2 of this matchup?
Well, we stopped the run and we ran the football, and you know, we've said all along, you win football games up front, and I'm really proud. Our offensive line and defensive lines had fantastic games tonight.
Sark, we sat with you a couple nights ago, and you just talked about what these kids were like, how hard they played. Granted, they're not the talent you had at USC, but it meant so much more to you. What does victory in a bowl game like this mean?
Well, I'm just happy for our kids. Really, I'm happy for the Husky Nation. We've got great, great fans. We're a proud tradition, and we're on our way back.
And you just saw Jake Locker finish his college career. What was coming to mind as the seconds were ticking away?
You know, this is why he came back. You know, I think, you know, the reality of it is money is money, but these experiences last a lifetime, and I'm happy for him. He's got a huge heart. He's a humble young man. I'm just happy for him.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Aaron, Jake just 5 of 16 for 56 yards. He won't care one bit about that, Todd. The stats are not his concern tonight. It's a victory in his first ever bowl game, and the first bowl game for all these guys and a winning season. And there's tremendous confidence in Sarkisian's staff and all the players, even the ones who are leaving, that this is a program on the way back.
Absolutely. You know, even though Jake Locker won't be back, they're going to recruit and they're going to keep playing with energy and passion, and they'll be a force to be reckoned with in the Pac-10.
Didn't turn it over, didn't give up a sack, only 3 penalties. Continuing live coverage of the trophy ceremony, log on ESPN3.com. Sports Center coming up next right here. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Aaron and for Todd and our entire team here in San Diego, Chris Fowler saying so long for now. The Huskies, big underdogs, win it 19-7.